Good morning and welcome to VOP This Morning. I am Moses Humphrey and straight into the conversation for today. Suspended Rivers Governor Fubara may defect to the APC. That's following a publication by Sahara Reporters. Oh well, we'll jump into this in the course of the program. Welcome to the show.
Good morning and thanks for joining us. I am Chukuma Okoro. Away from that, federal government revalidates 2.3 million households for ongoing cash transfer program. Plus, Boko Haram slaughters 17 farmers, fishermen in Borno over ISWAP support.
And I'm Fina Okechukwu, and those are the topic of conversation, the major topic of discussion today. But before we move on, we encourage you to click the subscription button on YouTube. If you've not subscribed to the YouTube channel, we at Voice of the People TV, and on other social media platforms, you're at VOP TV Live, okay? And you can also visit the website for fresh and trending news. www.vop.ng is what the website represents. And for your active participation during the program and subsequent ones, we have a number you see scrolling on your screen. You can call in or send us a 1-minute video of yourself reacting or responding to any of the topics that tickles your fancy. We have other trending stories that kept the social media buzzing during the weekend. And one of it is that the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Nyesom Wike, says that he will not run against President Bola Tinubu in the 2027 presidential election. Wike made this known, to politicians, where he was also talking about his stand, saying that no politician in Nigeria can stand against Tinubu come 2027. And this comes amid speculation that the opposition's People's Democratic Party may zone its 2027 presidential ticket to the south. Wike also, when he joined the governors to have their own meeting, and he also went to the NWC, extending an olive branch, trying to make sure that the aggrieved members of PDP will come together and push the party forward. Also made Nigerians known that if PDP will vote, or if PDP will send its presidential ticket to the south during the 2027 election, it will help mitigate the challenge that happened in 2023 general election. But now that he come up to say that, I am not contesting. So some Nigerians are asking, when Wike made that statement, was it that he had interest in coming up to contest against his principal in 2027? But he just made it known to Nigerians that he's not even interested in that particular position, given the fact that he said no politician in Nigeria can stand a chance against Tinubu in 2027. Quite interesting.
Oh well, Wike speaks, and I don't think he's one whose words people should consider. He's known for going back on his words. He said a lot of things in the past, and he has swallowed his own,
so you think he's going to contest in 2027?
He may contest.
Oh.
He may contest.
Okay.
He may attempt. He may attempt. But talking about no politician can challenge Tinubu, well, it's unfortunate that he's putting out that information. In a democratic setting, that's not what we should be saying. The people should be, it's about the people now. The people should be allowed to make their choice. All right? And if the people decide that they want APC back in the seats there, then so be it. But obviously, what we see in Nigeria, it doesn't seem like the people have much of a say. I was reading up something this morning, an article that said, look, Nigerians should pray for things to be better. We know how hunger has ravaged the land. We know how insecurity has ravaged the land. And in the course of the program, we just might be touching on one of those stories that border on insecurity. And it goes to show how terrible things are. So the people should come together. And of course, we're also talking about being divided along our usual fault lines of religion and ethnicity. And it would be nice for political office holders to, speak truth occasionally, and religious leaders as well to, encourage the people to come together. We should be united, because that's the only way that Nigeria can move forward. It really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter much who wins elections. As long as Nigeria gets to move forward, I don't think I have a problem. Oh well.
Okay, oh well. Well, Moses actually took it from my
And I
mouth.
did say that. Oh my goodness.
Moses actually took it from my mouth when he said that, look, Wike is not one that you can take his words to the bank. Wike said, look, I don't want to be a minister. I will never be a minister under Tinubu. What is Wike now? Wike is the minister of the FCT. Wike said, how can you leave malaria and confront cancer? Though he is not fully in the APC, but he is living with the cancer patients. So, what does that tell you? It clearly tells you that Wike is not someone that we should rely on his words. If you give Wike the presidential ticket yesterday, he will contest that election day before yesterday. Take it from me. People that know him closely understand that, look, the case between Wike and Tinubu is the case of the fox and the hedgehog. Which one is going to outsmart the other? And when Moses said it's unfortunate that Wike came out to make that statement, permit me to disagree with you. It's quite fortunate. You know why? Do you know why it's fortunate? Why? So that Nigerians will know the monster, the powers and the principalities that they are dealing with, and get ready ahead of 2027. You know, it's telling, it's revealing that, look, when Wike says that no politician can take out Tinubu by 2027, it clearly tells you that when people talk about state capture, it is real. Who else is left? Legislature, executive, judiciary, now the people, institutions are under capture and all of that. So if somebody that is close to the president, like Nyesom Wike, tells you that, look, nobody can upset Tinubu in 2027, we are beginning to read the dead ends early on, you know, so that Nigerians will understand what they are dealing with or what they are going to deal with in 2027. It is not for somebody to say, this must be. It is for the people to say, look, this is the person we want to be our president. And it is good that, I mean, the opposition, they are gathering, whether we like it or not, whether it is LP, PDP, SDP, NMPP, or in whatever hue and color that they are coming together to form a coalition as an opposition to wrest power from the APC. Like Moses also said, Nigerians are not really interested in who becomes the president. What they are interested in is, if I get home, I touch the wall in my house, will I have light? If I open the tap, is there water? If I go to hospital in my locality at the primary health center, do I get treated? If my children go to a public school, are they going to get good education? And all of that. That is what Nigerians want. Nigerians want it's very easy to make Nigerians happy. Unfortunately, our leadership take us for a ride. And that is where the problem comes. Now that Wike has said that no politician can upset Tinubu, it is important that Nigerians know what is confronting us ahead of 2027.
Well, and let's move on to another conversation now. The chairman of the Code of Conduct Bureau, CCB, Abdullahi Bello, has called on Nigerians to report public officials whose lifestyle suggests unexplained wealth. Interesting. So, well, in an interview, Bello said the Bureau has set up a forensic accounting and investigation unit to analyze asset declarations and compare officials' wealth over time. He revealed that several public servants, including high-profile individuals, have already been invited for questioning based on suspicious wealth increases. Well, he added that a reporting platform will soon be launched and urged media and civil society to support transparency by monitoring and reporting such cases. Of course, that's why we're here. We're here to let the people know, present a balanced view to the people, and it's up to the people to decide. The presidency launched a portal, I think it was an X page or an app or something, to report ministers that were not up to par. And yes, Nigerians jumped on it. Nigerians reacted. How many of those ministers were, called to answer questions asked by Nigerians? Now, Code of Conduct Bureau is asking Nigerians to report, and they're saying, look, you can make this report anonymously, so you are not attacked at the end of the day. I think the chairman of CCB has good intentions, but we know over time that political office holders in particular have not been declaring their assets. Some declare ahead, anticipating what they will acquire by the time they leave office. And some did not even declare, but they leave office and monies are found in their accounts, billions of naira found in their accounts, and no one is bringing them to book. So you want Nigerians to come and start doing a
unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. Like I said, unfortunately too, the best intentions don't produce the best outcomes. He might have good intentions, but is he intentional about what he wants to do? How can you ask Nigerians to report public officials who live above their means? We are waiting for Chukwu Mokoro to come and tell you. You don't know. They're in Abuja with you. They're in Abuja. Even your staff, people that work with you, that live in central area, people whose salaries are less than 300,000 naira, and their house rents per annum is like 2.5 million naira. Where do they get that money from?
I didn't know where many Nigerians to support them. Have you forgotten what happened when we saw a sitting governor putting money in his agbada, and the only response the sitting president could give is that maybe the money that was given to him as of that time, it's more like a well-wishing coming from the Chinese personnel.
Okay, so all those people that live in central area,
people can gift you something. We have Guzape coming up and all that.
Okay. I understand your point. But the issue of it is this. Look, I just see this more like a sound bite. You just want to say something,
exactly.
for the press to report so that people, feel that you are doing your job, you are on top of your job. On the contrary, your work is cut out for you. When you talk about asset declaration, how many people get into office and declare their assets in that office where you work? And have you made case about that? So it is left. We know Nigerians who live flamboyant. Let's even start from the National Assembly. Up until today, we are still having arguments with Ramfak. How much does a senator earn a month? Members of the House of Representatives, how much do they earn? The chief of staff to the president, how much is his salary? Shouldn't we know? How about the vice president whose apartment was refurbished to 21 billion naira? Isn't he living above his means? And all of that. And you're asking Nigerians to report.
Well, that's not exactly his own money.
No, it's not his own money.
Yes.
I understand it's not his own money, but that is just an aside, to the fact that, look, we know Nigerians who are living larger than life. And how do they get such monies? We don't know. Everything comes from the coffers of, especially people that are in public service. I know staff in the FCT that work in the federal ministry who drive 25 million naira vehicles. But their monthly salaries is not up to 300,000 naira. So where did they get all those money from?
Loan.
Isn't the president himself living above his means?
Above his means. Why drive an Escalade?
Why drive an Escalade?
Why drive an Escalade in a country where you have 137 million people facing acute hunger by June?
But we know that the Escalade does not belong to the president.
Why does it belong to you?
He's going to leave it while leaving office.
Okay, what about the one that Buhari used? Where is it?
Now the thing is,
can you tell us where it is now?
We'll ask Bello to help us explain.
No, you tell us. Since you know it doesn't belong to the
president. X-ray this. When the president came into office, did he declare his assets?
That's the question.
Where would he say he got them from? He got all the things that he has. He said to own Lagos, as it were, investing in a lot of things in Lagos. Where would he say he got the money from?
You see, declaration of asset, there's a cover there. You don't have to make it public. You understand? You don't have to make it public.
Absolutely.
But like Yaradua said, he was going to make his own public. Was it Yaradua? I think Yaradua said he was going to make it public. But I think they stopped him. Something like that. So asset declaration, like you rightly said, Peter Obi asked one question. You said you had money before you got into government. And you didn't build a house that you built after you got into government, before then. How do you explain that? Like in our local parlance, they go say you explain that because you don't get evidence. You don't have evidence.
On my own part, when Mr. Bello was talking about persons that have already called in for questioning, and when I read through that yesterday, the first thing that came into my mind is, why call them for questioning? Why tell us you've called in some persons for questioning? We want to see them being penalized. We want to see them now, being taken to court to say that these people defaulted, that the asset that they declared before assuming office, does not really tally what they have now, as the case may be. But now, like my two colleagues in the studio rightly pointed out, if you want to tell Nigerians or want Nigerians to know that you're doing something while in office, you should also go further to pick persons who have, in one way or the other, been at the helm of affairs. I've never heard that a former president, was called in for questioning over how he how he used or utilized the resources within his power or within his means after leaving office. I have not also heard that former governor is being incarcerated or being thrown in prison because of mismanagement of public funds. I have not also heard about, so many things. I learned that it was your brother, Chukuma, some time ago that was called upon for mismanagement of fund then, in 2019. But guess what happened? He returned back again to the Senate.
Which of my
talking
brothers?
about Ojus Okalu.
Oh, he's not just my brother. He's the senator representing me in the Senate. He's the senator representing me in the Senate, yes.
So if he's looking for persons, if Mr. Bello is looking for people who in one way or the other are living above their means, you shouldn't look for that. Don't go far. Get to the National Assembly and bring them out and ask them. The money, the cars that were given to them, the free ride that they picked because they wouldn't want to be entering the potholes in Nigeria, and they also want to be prevented from attacks and all that. Where do they get the money from? The person that bought the cars for them. How did the person get to that particular money to be able to get those vehicles for our National Assembly?
Fina, let me tell you, that money was the first set of money that was, one of the first sets of money that was borrowed by this administration. And the first thing they did was dip in their hands into that field, collected 70 billion naira and dumped it in the National Assembly. Retrofit your wardrobes and your offices and all of that. This issue, is all about corruption. And I make bold to say, look, the only person, not the head of that agency, not the head of ICPC, not the head of EFCC, not the police, not the NSA. The only person that can fight corruption in this country is nobody else but the president. And it is body language that will tell people behind him, people below him, whether he's intentional about fighting corruption. I keep going back to Singapore. Briefly, Lee Kuan Yew, when he got into office, Singapore inherited some kind of corruption from the British Empire. Now, what did he do? He changed the name of the anti-graft agency to something that reflected the circumstances of that moment. And after like 6-8 months, he discovered that he wasn't making headway. He removed that office and put it in the office of the Attorney General of the Federation of Singapore. Again, after like 6-8 months, he discovered that he wasn't making headway. You know what he did? He put that office under the office of the Prime Minister. It was at that point that every decision taken about corruption in Singapore was taken by Lee Kuan Yew himself. He had to send his best friend to jail. For what? Something less than $400,000 and all of that. Even up until today. There's a minister in Malaysia who did what? Who helped his relation to get a contract. Supplying of printing papers in his ministry. The man went to jail. Until we get to a point where the body language of the president tells everybody around him that, look, we are done with corruption. Nothing is going to come out of this fight against corruption, unfortunately. That is what it is. Now, moving away from that, the South-South APC has defended Tom Polo. We are back again. Chief Government Ekbomo Polo, founder of Tantita Security Services, against allegations of Naira abuse during his recent birthday celebration. Well, Dr. Blessing Abomere, APC Zonal Organizing Secretary, and Tom Polo's lawyer wrote to EFCC Chairman Ola Olukoyede, urging the Commission to withdraw its invitation to Tom Polo and remove his name from his X account. Well, Abomere stated that there is no evidence that Tom Polo abused Naira, claiming a circulating video shows him waving off those spraying money rather than participating. He described the EFCC's action as being fueled by social media incitement and baseless claims. Well, the EFCC had invited Tom Polo to appear on May 19, that's today, in connection with the alleged incident. Well, the issue of EFCC inviting Tom Polo, I think there are many angles to it. I've watched that video. It is not very clear. The one that I watched was blurry, was blurred, and he was not the one spraying. Someone was spraying him. Was he stepping on the Naira? I understand that also that he was waving at the person, asking him to stop. But in all of this, Nigerians are also asking, is it within the purview of the EFCC? When did that become a financial crime? The abuse of the Naira. What does the CBN Act say about all of that? How about the police? What is the police doing in all of that? Nigerians are of the opinion that the EFCC should concentrate more on arresting, investigating, and prosecuting people in government who have stolen us to dry, who willingly put their hands inside the till, take as much money as they want. And now the man said, look, if I don't prosecute Yaya Bello, I'm going to resign. What's the situation with Yaya Bello's case as we speak now? It's in the cooler, just like many of them. Like Fina said, we have senators, we have former governors who are in the Senate, who have corruption cases around their neck, still in the Senate, making laws for you and I. What kind of law are they going to make in all of that? That is the big question. So until we go back to the basics and say, look, enough of all these shenanigans, enough of this impunity, enough of this rascality, we'll always come here every day, say all that we want to say, go back, tomorrow it becomes a circle show. And sometimes for me, it becomes like deja vu. I don't even know what I said before. Maybe I have said this thing before. Have I said it before? It's deja vu. That's become deja vu for me. So, well, if we need to make progress as a people, we have to take a collective decision to make progress.
The social media platform will say, is the media incitement and baseless claim for me. You know, when we say that someone is becoming a bit sarcastic, but we want to come out to just say that this is what we're just trying to say. Now, the thing is this, if we're turning this whole EFCC, going after people who are mutilating Naira, who are abusing the currency and all that into, you know, an ethnic thing or into a political party thing, then it's going to water down the effect of EFCC in Nigeria and their fight against, you know, corruption and every other activities that are not in line with our constitution. EFCC have gone, you know, as far as picking so many other prominent Nigerians to question them about how Naira are being abused within, maybe in their party that they call, in the gathering that they also participated. Tom Polo is not the first person to be invited by EFCC, if you ask me. Ayo Mayeko was invited. The likes of Cubana Chippers was invited too. We have E-Money also invited. We have Ojo, the recent one. Priska's mother also, she was invited because people sprayed cash on her daughter during the daughter's wedding. And then the video that we saw, that someone, an APC, you know, chieftain is calling a media incitement and baseless claim. We saw even masquerades, the gods were dancing on our Naira. That, you know, we saw Nairas that are being littered everywhere. 1,000 Naira, that's the highest denomination of our currency, were on the ground. People were stepping on it, dancing, you know. And someone is saying that is media incitement and baseless claims. Come on, I think Nigeria is bigger than this. If we call, nobody's above this government. Nobody also should be above the government. We have the rule of law. We shouldn't be practicing divide and rule. If one person defaulted, the person should be called in for questioning, and due process should also be followed. That you're telling me that he was not the one that did the spraying of the knife, but he encouraged it because he was dancing and the money was being sprayed and he was still there dancing. We have multiple videos that come up from the 54th birthday celebration that he, you know, that people also threw for him also. Why was he there if he's not in support of whatever thing that was happening there? Then on the other part again, yes, EFCC chairman have also invited him. Today is the day he will appear before them. And FINA, for one, I'm expecting that, you know, at the end of the day, a clear information will be out. What really happened, what transpired. That is what EFCC owes Nigeria. Not telling me or from a political business somewhere, telling Nigerians that what we saw in social media incite. We are not inciting EFCC to go after anybody. They also have their eyes. The eagle have the eyes. Eagle can see farther than what you, who happens to be at the same level, you know, cannot see. So they only, if they're trying to tell Nigerians that the eagle now is tired, or maybe that the ego now can only see what they want to see and not see a clear vision of whatever thing happening, they should do the needful. They should do their work.
Oh, well, I don't have a problem with the counsel to Tompolo writing the EFCC. We've spoken about this before. And, you know, the same question then was, does this really fall within the purview of the EFCC? But what I think EFCC should be concerned about, yes, I think it would have been nice that we played that video. What I think the EFCC should be more concerned about is the stash of cash on the floor. You know, right there. If you watch that video again, there was a heap of money on the floor there. You know, somebody, it would be nice if we got to that part where you find money on the floor and then you start to wonder, is this some sort of, I mean, did they use a bullion van to bring the money to this place? I mean, oh, this is where he was dancing and stepping on the money. I wonder at what point he was waving at the individual to stop. This is Tom Polo dancing, actually, and stepping on the money being sprayed. So since EFCC has taken it upon itself to, you know, arrest those that abuse the Naira, I think his invitation should hold. He should go there and answer questions And those that got the money kept somewhere, stash of it, should also be questioned. I mean, it's not just about, well, Tom Polo should be invited. In fact, the masquerade too should be arrested.
How can you arrest the gods?
There should be arrested. The gods will explain why they were abusing the naira.
Can you identify the gods?
They will explain. Anyway, well, let's move away from all that conversation now. Let's go into the papers very quickly. We'll be taking headlines from the dailies, and we have different dailies right here. Okay, I think I'm having problems downloading
All right, I guess
the e-copies of the paper headlines. So, Fina, if you have it, please go ahead.
I have the first newspaper today, and just beside the masthead, NDLEA arrests 80-year-old ex-convict in Kaduna, others in multi-state drug bust. Suspected ritualist confesses to abducting, killing numerous children. Outrage as a motor show deported after shocking acquittal in South Africa. 7 killed, 16 injured in tragic truck crash in Niger State. Serap to NNPCL. Probe missing 500 billion naira revenue. Involve EFCC, ICPC. The banner headline reads, Massacre in KB, Benue. 30 killed as bandits, gunmen slaughter farmers, traders. Faith over politics. Tinubu, Peter Obi, Fayemi unite at Pope's Vatican installation. Ondo APC World Chairman killed after ransom payment. The bottom strip headline, Under 20 AFCON, Flying Eagles win Egypt, clinch bronze. Those are the headlines on the cover page of the First News newspaper today.
Okay, let's quickly run through the Daily Sun. Beside the nameplate, you have Tinubu meets Catholic bishops, Obi in Rome, calls for unity. There was a mild drama in the Vatican when I think John Fayemi and Peter Obi were sitting together, sat together. Yeah, sorry?
Coyote.
Yes, Coyote, Fayemi. Yeah, they sat together, and when they cited the president, Fayemi said, let's go greet him, and he went with Obi. And when they greeted him, President, it's good to see you here. And the president said, look, I'm the leader of the Nigerian delegation. And people were like, President, are you dragging the leadership of the delegation with anybody? Anyway, that's it. Join Moses and I by 10 o'clock for more expanded review of newspaper headlines. Now, let's move on. 1 million of Nigerians may never own a home. Cost of building doubles in 3 years. Experts blame poor wage, policy gaps. Now, the big story. Terrorist attacks, Governor Zulum declares fast. At least let's try that mode too if it's going to work. 15 farmers killed in fresh Benue assault. Oh my God. Another 15 in KB. Wow. Government pays 24 million naira compensation to families. Troops intensify offensive against terrorists. Bandits. Okay, more stories. Defections, Yakasai berates politicians. Says they lack ideologies. Ondo mourns as kidnappers kill APC world chair. Quite unfortunate. FX market tense as BDCs race to beat CBN recapitalization deadline. Dollar scarcity looms. Experts warn. But African Air Forces Forum holds in Lagos. Uzodinma to deliver keynote speech. That's all from the Daily Sun newspaper.
And the Vanguard newspaper is up next, and just beneath the masthead, headsmen, bandits strike in Benue, KB, Imo, Ondo, Kogi, kill 33. Right after that, state police whose team tired of insecurity. That's coming from Afeni Ferrer. Zulum begs FG not to allow Mate fall. Manufacturing sector rebounds as revenue profits soar. Pope Leo XIV's inauguration, Nigeria's unity in diversity, work in progress. Tinubu, right after that, meets Obi Fayemi, Catholic bishop at the Vatican. Abdurazak mourns as 37 passengers drowned in Kwara boat mishap. Then we have the Mr. and Mrs. there, and also there's another pictorial there, apart from the one where the president was shaking hands with Pope Leo XIV. We have the sign of royal pledge also made it to the cover page of Vanguard newspaper today.
Well, that's it. That's how far we can go in newspaper headlines. Join us again, like Chikuma rightly said, at 10 o'clock, where we'll go into a more expanded view of those headlines. Now, let's get into one of the conversations on our table this morning. Suspended Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara may be joining the APC after Tinubu deal. This is as reported by Sahara Reporters. Let's have this conversation. Join us again.
Discuss key areas in the maritime sector, from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more.
Join me on Sundays every 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. on Voice of the People TV.
Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy.
Well, the Rivers State Governor, Siminalayi Fubara, has reportedly joined the ruling. This is according to Sahara Reporters. There are insinuations that Siminalayi Fubara of the APC may be joining, I beg your pardon, see, getting confused already. Similarly, Fubara of the PDP may be moving over to the APC, and this is coming after his London meeting with the president. And this, some have said, could be as a result of the intense issues that he has had as governor of the state following his suspension. Well, pundits are saying he may have been coerced into defection from the APC, from the PDP to the APC. Well, we have with us in the studio Barrister Darlington Agumwa, and also we have Mr. Fatumke and Akin Fatumke, and together we'll be dissecting the possibility of a defection. We will also be going to our outstations where we'll have from Port Harcourt, Elder Lekia Christian, and also, yes, we'll be having this conversation. Now, let's dive into it. Let me start off with Mr. Fatumke. Good morning to you. Welcome to the conversation. Now, there are insinuations, allegations that the suspended governor of Rivers State has been pummeled and may be running to the APC for safety. How do you react to this, and what could happen what may happen if he actually defects to the APC?
Good question and good process. I ordinarily, and by the way, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to Nigerians and friends of Nigeria, wherever you are watching us. I think they become quite very interesting developments, if you ask me. I am yet to hear from the governor himself. Yeah, he's on suspension, but even within suspension, he's been speaking. And there is nothing that he's going to say now that we will say will be ultra vires. I would rather want to hear from him. Clearly, the speculations have been rife, really, that some people told me in private conversations that he has always been on the path of progressives, even though PDP. By progressives now, my definition of progressives will now then be whereby we see governance now being trickled down to states, hopefully to local governments, more funds to the state governors to operate until the Wike Fubara thing came on. So for now, speculations, yes. Very rife, yes. His last public statements also lends weight to, apart from the London visit, also visited Wike and then spoke at the burial ceremony of the late elder statesman, where he was ambivalent of sorts. Whether at the end of the day this will be he being pummeled, whether it's going to be him being cajoled, like other states have been cajoled.
Or coerced, probably.
Or coerced, time will tell. The only thing I know, though, for clear in my mind, is that when you do not do a management of change, it's a management concept, whether in marriage, whether in family affairs, whether in politics, whether in corporate life, you want to change and you do not do your management of change in such a way that you have communicated, you have looked at worst case scenarios, backlash might be unfavorable. But at the end of the day, it looks to me that my point to similarly Fubara and Wike, which has always been what I have always said, will be that this will be a logjam that will have to be settled politically, and that he needs
All right. Now,
He needs the wisdom of
okay,
Solomon.
so
of
talking
sorts.
about settling this, working with the available data that we have. You know, the allegations on one side, but the available data is at some point, Simonalaye traveled to London to see the president. Meetings were held behind closed doors. He came back to Nigeria, traveled to the FCT to see his godfather, estranged, and he was reported to have prostrated. Barrister, I'm coming to you on this one. He was reported to have prostrated, held him by the leg, and pleaded. We are privy to information that Wike at an interview, you know, did say that, look, he was never fighting the governor. That the governor is like a son to him. That he was fighting those that were, you know, prompting the governor, pushing him on. And like a son, he would never fight him, which gives the impression that there's some sort of peace being, you know, coming between them. Barrister,
Yep.
let's marry that with a possibility of a defection. What's your reaction? And who stands to lose or who stands to gain, really? The
Moses,
people
all
or the
these
political actors?
All these things are signs of failure on the part of APC. You are coercing people to come to your side.
Allegedly.
Well, it is not obvious because they have spoken. Wike has spoken. You are fighting those who are pushing Fubara. On what ground are you fighting them? I have never seen anybody in Rivers State that is Wike has been fighting. Wike has never called out anybody from Rivers State and say, you are the problem. I am fighting you. Rather, it has been between him and Fubara. So all this thing that he's saying now is just to cover up. And I think Tinubu have allowed Wike to run riot in Rivers State. I'm very sure that if not for the backing he's getting from Tinubu, Wike wouldn't be this arrogant. He wouldn't be this arrogant, so lawless.
Okay.
Yes. So whatever is going to happen at the end of the day, the question for you and I is it in the interest of our democracy? The answer is capital no.
Okay.
So if your action is going to destroy democracy, why should I praise you? Why should I clap for you?
All right, Barrister, let me stay with you on that. Whatever is going to happen at the end of the day, how would that help our democracy?
Exactly.
Now, well said. Now, does it look like the whole issue of the state of emergency was orchestrated?
Yes.
Just to coerce Fubara into jumping to the APC?
Exactly.
Because a lot of people had also argued there was no need for the state of emergency. Was there breakdown of law and order?
Nothing.
No. What about other states where there is breakdown of law and order? State of emergency has it been declared in those states? So I want you to help us understand. If you put the dots, the bits and pieces together, now does it look like the state of emergency that was just orchestrated to ensure that the APC takes Rivers State?
Good. You can see, Mr. Okoro, thank you for that question. You can see now, at the end of the day, supporters of Tinubu will say it's a master strategy. With this thing he did in Rivers State now, is it strategy? You are committing illegality in the name of strategy to get Rivers State. So at the end of the day now, they will clap for him that all the states came under APC because of Tinubu's strategy. And gullible Nigerians will be praising this type of behavior. I said it here that there was no need for that state of emergency. Because
now we see the need.
Yes, we are now seeing where he was going. That is working towards an answer. When you want to hang a dog, you give it a bad name. Even the statement he made during the declaration of state of emergency, he was blaming Fubara. All the blame was on Fubara. And I asked myself, well, what kind of thing is this?
Now, Barrister, are you of the opinion that this actually happens to be the thing that Wike was pointing to when he was of the opinion that Fubara has the yam and the knife, that he should do the needful, that the president have also addressed him, so he should know what the president said?
Please, at this point, I don't want to listen to either Wike or the president, because they are the ones causing the problem in Rivers. So they are trying to shift the blame to somebody else.
All right.
They are the ones, from their actions and their behavior and utterances, we can see it clearly now that Fubara did not do any single wrong because he did everything to implement Supreme Court judgment. He did everything.
Okay,
and that would have averted all the state of emergency, but they refused. That was why they hijacked the judgment of the court to implement a state of emergency. You can see it now. All the deceit is coming to the open now. Will anybody come and tell me here now that this is a strategic move? He averted whatever. He saved Fubara. All those things are lies.
Interestingly, Barrister, strategic move, someone who says relative. Elder Lekia Christian, let's have you join today's conversation. Good morning. All right, now let me bring you back to Barrister. When you say that the whole happening in River State, you know, it was more like a way to cajole the suspended governor to join the APC. Wouldn't this particular act at this point in time lead to the party, APC party, imploding? Because some persons have come up to say that a whole lot of persons in APC were there against their will. And even APC members are crying that this might lead to the destruction of the party if something like that continues. So are we seeing any implosion happening in APC?
It is very obvious. Look, they say what an elder sees sitting down. A young man that climbed Irokoti will not see it. I am telling you that few years down the line, with what Tinubu is doing with our democracy, it will affect APC adversely. Because never in the history of this world has one man become a dictator and succeeded. It has never happened. So it's a matter of time before this thing will boomerang. Tinubu cannot continue to dictate for Nigeria and APC. It can never happen. It's a matter of time before they will say, look, we are tired of all these things.
All right.
Look at what happened in Lagos State during their local government election. Look at over 100 petitions, and it's all pointing towards Tinubu in Abuja.
All right.
Is that democracy?
Thank you very much. Let's bring Mr. Fatum Kere back into this conversation. With all these allegations, with all these things coming up against the president, some have said, look, all the president cares about is 2027. I mean, elections have not commenced fully, but we can see pointers to the fact that campaign have not commenced fully. But we can see pointers. I mean, if you drive on some roads, on the 3rd Mainland Bridge and on Airport Road, you see signboards saying door to door and all of that, which points to some sort of campaign. First of all, isn't that breaking the law? Oh. First off, isn't that breaking the law? Secondly, do you think all these political actors trying to save their, protect their interest, join the APC? Wouldn't that affect the APC one way or another? Do you foresee the APC imploding?
Brilliant questions. And then what I'll do here is to infer the Latin aphorism in Law of Thoughts that talks about res ipsa loquitur. Facts speaks for themselves. With that at the back, and then I will tell you, like we say in accounting, I will show you the balance sheet, the final end of all this maze. That time will tell. What are the facts? Your second question was asking if you've seen billboards all over the place, which is true. But we've also seen the presidency debunking and saying that they have not asked anybody to go put on billboards. It's not the first time, it's not the second time. At fifth columnist, anybody can go and impugn. So that would be the facts there. Secondly, you also asked very intelligibly and logically in my mind that is President Bola Tinubu all about politics and all? First of all, I mean, on a light note, he's there as a politician. So, of course, it has to be politics. Yes, and then you can then go to political, economic, political, social, political, so many other branches in there. And you do not expect, as is our trademark in this part of the world, for you to begin to see undercurrents around him. It will not be fair, in my own opinion, to say Bola Tinubu is only looking at 2027 because others are also making moves.
Okay.
And because others are making moves and all that, it will not be. My dear friend and brother has spoken about a wrong strategy that's going to be implosion, I would rather say. Time
will tell.
Will tell.
Okay, all right, Mr. Fatuke, let me stay with you. I would like for you to, you said something about the presidency debunking, the fact that they are not the ones, behind the open campaigns now, in support of the president. Why is it difficult for the same presidency, to get to the root of it, find out people behind all of these things, and say, look, enough of this? Should it be a difficult thing for the intelligence community to do that?
I don't think it should be.
Okay. However, so why do you have an idea why they are not doing it? Does it mean that they are giving tacit support to it?
I don't have an idea why that is not so, because I don't have all the facts.
Okay.
And in any case, I will not sit here and make an assumption that it's not being looked into. But it's also being impugned. Like, I used one word, fifth columnist. The opposition himself.
The opposition itself.
So if the opposition allegedly are behind this, so you should now then say it is this particular person, this particular person.
But it doesn't take the same government time, to fish out those who are plotting to put down the government. Fifth columnists who are plotting to put down the government, but it becomes difficult for the same government, to find out people that are behind the open campaign.
Okay, can you give me an example of who is plotting to put down the government that this present government has fished out and named?
The after part, the after P2B, the after those that organize the end bad governance protest.
Well, Part of it, Professor Patobi is my very good friend. So absolutely, Professor Patobi. So again, like I said, ras ipso locuta. I am not aware, from what I read, that is deliberately being targeted against the professor. The professor has come. The professor has come and talked about,
shadow government.
A government, and which the government came and said, no, I don't think this is in the constitution. I have not seen it down as meaning, and of course I know my dear friend and professor, I said, look, freedom of information, let's go to court, let's go sort this out. So all those are going to be sorted out of court. I do not see, and I do not read that now, they say, going after him. I'm making this point.
Okay,
here.
now DSS has already dragged him to court. Dragged him to court in that respect.
It's taken him to court.
Okay. I want us to walk back to. I want us to walk back to the reverse issue.
Okay. So drag him to court. I just want to rest it.
Okay.
Drag him to court is not. It's not tantamount to yes. I've set how the courts go after him and then put him down.
Okay. That is now let's walk back to reverse state. Wike said something that is quite interesting. Wike said, "Look, I'm not even interested in 2027 presidency because no politician in this country can take power away from Bola Ahmed Tinubu." Is 2027 already decided?
According to
Wike.
Okay.
Do you agree with him?
Maybe you should ask Wike. But as
an analyst, if you put all facts together,
as an analyst,
you always speak about facts. If you put all the facts available, do you think that
not just today
is decided?
Not yesterday. I have been coming to your station and I've been very consistent. It is going to be foolhardy and self-grand deception to see where we are at in Nigeria today and to say that a force that should come and give us a competition, and up till now they are still, and you are saying you don't have a grand strategy to exactly what happened in 2023 is going to happen in 2027. And you can go ahead and say all what you need to say. But I'm saying that at the appropriate time, in my view, the facts will come out and it becomes a res ipso facto.
Mr. You clearly didn't ask my question.
No. You are asking me if Wike is saying he's not going to contest.
Is 2027 decided in favor of the president?
The 2027 cannot be decided without elections.
Okay,
you know that.
No, thank you very
so
much.
You cannot ask me that.
I see you shaking your head. In agreement or in disagreement?
You see,
based on what Wike said, do you think that 2027, is already decided?
It's going to be decided on elections.
From the look of things and the way people are now running to APC, it seems so. But in reality, it shouldn't be so. That are the two different things here. Because by the time we continue to do this, the same thing is going to happen. Oppositions are not coming together, this and that. Meanwhile, you are making every move to destabilize opposition. Unlike what happened to you in 2014 or 2013 when you were formed. PDP gave you free hand to operate. They did not do anything to destabilize you. They did not do everything to harass you.
Barrister, isn't it laughable that a political party that have an ideology can allow another political party with a different ideology to destabilize their activities?
No.
Isn't it laughable?
No, hold on. Destabilization come in different forms.
So how possible is it that a particular party can now destabilize a different party entirely that has its own body, its own ideology, and its own objective and aims?
You are not getting it. You can destabilize a party or a community or a body in several ways. It doesn't have to be through ideological means. What you are seeing now, like what happened in Rivers State now, is that not destabilization?
Barrister, shouldn't the PDP be held responsible for not reining its own people in? Shouldn't the PDP be held responsible for failing its governors?
No, that is look. In the PDP is a democratic party. In fact, PDP I can see is the only party that is for national that is patriotic enough to call a national party. PDP, go and check from their information. They have never been in this game of intimidating people, harassing people, telling people what to do and what not to do, trying to decide the fate of any member. No, PDP, that is when you are upholding democratic norms. But in a situation like we are seeing now, where you are coercing people, look at what they happen in Rivers State. Is that not enough embarrassment that because of your selfish reasons you want to get Rivers State, you now committed a lot of illegality?
Now, Barrister Darlington, when you're pointing out to people who are migrating or cross-carpeting to the ruling APC party, some persons have also come up to say that governors don't win election. Governors, as the case may be, are just one person representing a state and the deputy another person representing a state. What happened then to the people? People are the ones that decide, not the political bigwigs who migrated. Good. So are you not saying that with what is happening in Rivers State, that all the people in Rivers State who threw their support for the individual, similar like Fubara, will now move out to the APC party also to support
it? It will never happen. That's why we are educating them now. That's why we are talking. That the people should now decide. In fact, the people should now deal a political blow to these governors who are running to APC during the election. Let them tell them that they are not stupid. Yes, they elected you under a particular political party, and you now, for whatever reason, selfish interest, you now run to another party. During the next election, the people will now tell these politicians and even in Tinubu and APC that they are not stupid. They will deal with them at the polls. Whether they like it or not, it is the people that decide who will govern them. So whether you are running to APC or whatever, because you want protection or one second term, let the people deal with you. Forget about all this thing they are talking about opposition or no opposition. It is the people. By the time the people wake up, it will teach these politicians a lesson that they cannot be running from pillar to post because they want to win election.
Mr. Fatunke made mention of what happened in 2023 general election. Now you're talking about the people deciding by going to the poll to cast their vote.
Yes.
As a Nigerian, can you say that particular election of 2023 also represented the people's mandate?
It didn't. That's why we are telling them now, wake up. You cannot be foolish twice. They made a mistake in 2020. They must not make another mistake in 2027. Nigerians, don't make another mistake in 2027. Tell these people that yes, you are a human being, that power belongs to you in a democracy. That's what we are saying here.
So how then do you think the people can come in, to that regard, when we know that the person who mans the affairs, the person who happens to be in charge of the umpire, the electoral umpire in Nigeria, has been appointed also by the president?
It doesn't matter.
So you don't think that the person will work in
favor
favor of the
president? It doesn't matter. He will only appoint INEC chairman. Will he appoint my conscience? No. We have had enough to decide who will rule us. We have had enough punishment, enough deceit. We cannot continue forever.
But we also, Barrister, have had also a situation whereby people will go out to cast their votes, and the result in one way or the other will be altered when it gets to the INEC office.
I said those things are in the past. It cannot happen again. That's what I'm saying. No evil lasts forever now. How long will you continue to thwart the wish of the people and they'll be looking at you? No, it will never happen again. Never. Our vote must count now.
As we wrap up this conversation, let me come back to Mr. Fatunke. We've seen opposition, trying to come together as well to form some sort of coalition. And the Atiku camp, or a group that supports Atiku, have said, look, but they are offering Peter Obi, the position of vice president to run with Atiku in 2027 for a single term. Do you see the possibility of that?
I laugh. Peter Obi is my friend, I must say, and I have a lot of respect for him. And I wonder the kind of chuckle that he'll be having. And so, like my dear friend and barrister is saying, everybody is running to APC, and it's because they are trying to avoid persecution. Nothing to do with they looking at an option and they think it's a better option for them under the circumstance. But when some people run away from APC to PDP, that's great and all that. Do I feel we are back to 2023? We've seen this movie before. And over time, the whole of this thing, my sister is talking about the elections. Some people start elections, some people rig elections, some people did this and all that. It's all about the leadership question in Nigeria. Peter Obi was given a carte blanche in 2023 to run again with Atiku. He refused. He went from there, like when you do transfer windows, he went to Kwakwaso, he went here and there, and all that. That I believe in myself, and I believe in him. That I want to be president. But they said, no, you are not good enough. You just have to get to play the second fiddle, all to, like Bola Tinubu say, let's just get there, let's snatch it, and let's run away without any clear-cut identity. It just has to be for power and power's sake. Nigeria is complex. Take it or leave it. Nigeria is complex. Why my dear brother, the barrister, is saying the people must snatch, they must rise up and all that. Nigeria is made up of different peoples of different persuasions. As he is saying he's here, it is so corner here.
All right.
Some other people of different persuasion will be saying they're
so you don't see the possibility of that happening?
No. Excuse me. I gave two options to resolve whether it is security, whether it's economy, whether unity or not. I gave two options. And I had a preferred option. You know that for sure. I said my option would be for Atiku to step down. And high time. This guy has followed you, has been an apprentice with you politically, under the PDP. Okay. You refuse it in 2023. Some tendencies are also refusing it on your behalf right now. Or the other option.
We see,
excuse me. The other option is what they have just described. Peter Obi, swallow your pride and
run as VP.
And run as VP. You know what Peter Obi, the obedience and people who can think logically have been saying is that, what is the guarantee? Power is intoxicating. You get in there and then you change the whole thing and all that kind of stuff. Either way, Peter Obi is like what Yorubas call football. Being tossed here and there.
Oh, he's being tossed.
Oh, of course he's being tossed here and there.
By who?
By the powers that be in Nigeria.
Okay. So, all right, with that in place,
whatever we are saying about this politics and election in Nigeria, we must factor in free and fair election. That's the only way you can test your strength. Not when an election is manipulated against you and somebody will use that as an example. No. Everybody knows that if that election in 2023 was...
Barrister, you also know that Nigerians have come to a point where they don't believe in electioneering anymore. Nigerians say they already know who will be there. So let's just align.
No, hold on. That is not good for our development, for our democracy, for our future, for future generation. That's what we are saying here. Indeed. We must move away from it. That's what we are saying here. If that election were properly conducted, you and I know the result. You and I know who won. Because this thing we are talking about, you saw how Obi was rigged out.
All right.
Even the people that did, they are not confessing. Like in River State and the Wike, you saw what they did. So we are saying it should not happen, so that we will not know exactly whether P2B is qualified to rule or P2B actually won the election. Not when you were rigged out with money.
All right, thank you.
And you are counting that as victory. That's not victory now.
Let's get into another conversation.
That's not victory.
Now. Federal government revalidates 2.3 million households for ongoing cash transfer program. Let's look into this when we come back.
Oshodi is a vibrant, bustling district in Lagos, Nigeria, known for its energetic mix of commerce, culture, and resilience. It is a place where opportunity and chaos thrive together, reflecting the city's dynamic spirit. Before Oshodi became a symbol of Lagos hustle, it was a quiet settlement occupied by the Awori people, one of the earliest Yoruba subgroups in the region. The name Oshodi is believed to have been derived from Balogun Oshodi Tapa, a war captain under the famous Yoruba warrior Oba Kosoko. With Lagos' rapid development, Oshodi became a key transportation hub connecting different parts of the city. By 1970 and 1980s, it had become a bustling marketplace and a major stop for people traveling through Lagos. Today, Oshodi is a lively and busy place full of people, market stalls, and activities from morning to night. It is known for being the energetic heart of Lagos and a challenging area due to the crowd and traffic. Despite the chaos, Oshodi shows the strength and determination of the people who live and work there. In recent years, Oshodi underwent one of the most ambitious urban transformations in Lagos history, the birth of Oshodi Transport Interchange. This multi-terminal megastructure was designed to tame the chaos, bringing the modern transport system to one of Africa's busiest cities. Beneath the modern facade, the original Oshodi also lives on. Traders still line the side streets, food vendors still serve steaming plates of jollof rice, and thousands still rely on this place as the start or end of their daily journey. To the outsider, Oshodi might look like the unfiltered chaos.
All right, then welcome back and thanks for staying with us. And if you are just joining us, this is VOP This Morning on Voice of the People's Television. The federal government has confirmed that 2.3 million households have been successfully revalidated for the ongoing conditional cash transfer program, aimed at mitigating the impact of recent economic reforms. This was announced by Director General of the National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, Abishoye Koka Odutose, during a press briefing at the Commission's headquarters in Abuja. According to Koka Odusote, the revalidation process was conducted under the National Social Safety Net project and has cleared over 2 million households for disbursement. She emphasized the role of accurate identification in ensuring that social benefits reach the intended beneficiaries. Well, we still have in the studio here with us Mr. Aki Fatke, a communication expert as well as political affairs analyst. Thanks for staying with us, Mr. Fatke.
Thank you very much, Mr. Okoro.
Okay. You're an accountant.
Oh, yes.
Very
And I'm
well.
a very proud one.
Very proud one for
Yes.
that matter. Now, 2.3 million households have been successfully revalidated for the ongoing conditional cash transfer program. How much of that can help cushion the effects of the hard time in Nigeria?
Chukuma, you know, ordinarily, I will be a desktop theorist and say, it's not possible. It's not possible. Surely, inflation is this, high is that, and all that is that. Until 2 years ago, when I met a young lady that was mobilizing in Ondo State, grassroots. And she made a statement. This was just before the cash, no cash thing that Emefiele did ahead of the 2023 elections. I said, I discovered something in the village. That 5,000 naira is big chunk for day in the village. I said, how is this possible and all that? I said, that is their turnover. As far as they are concerned, yes, they will not put on a big tie. They will not want to go for 3 square meals. They don't even have electricity, you know, and all that, all the good things of life. But the basic hygienic needs of 5,000 to continue to turn over becomes a big deal. And she started talking to them. And as far as they were concerned, it mobilized them. And I thought that was in the village until 2 weeks ago. I went to Ojuwe myself. I am talking of what I saw. Yes, on the other hand, I have pity for them. Now I saw a man at Ojuwe market there. Very, very close by Access Bank. I won't want to mention their names because I don't have their permission. When I go there, why did I go? I wanted to try and see because my wife had gone to buy snails. I said, look, it's my turn, let me just go there. I just do it for fun. And then it started raining. And I saw this gentleman and the wife. And I was wondering, what were they selling? So when I bought whatever it is I wanted, they had to give me the element. I said, Oga, this is 500 naira. Oga, this is 200 naira. And I was just wondering quietly. So I asked him. I said, Oga, what's your name? Again, you know, he mentioned his name. Where are you from? I'm from Imo State. Oh, that's my wife and all that. I have children. From there, that's one thing I will not be able to put my finger onto. The kind of contentment I saw on the man. The kind of contentment I saw on the man. I said, well, Oga, this is what I do and all that. So when it started raining, he did something that touched me to my bones. He said, Oga, please come inside, you know, and all that. I said, but where are you going to sit down? I said, oh, don't worry. You just come inside. I looked at what the wife was selling. My man sells rice, and I looked at what he was selling. I am much more than convinced.
But is selling cooked rice or raw rice?
Raw rice. Raw rice. I didn't see so many people come to them, but you know, I mean, you know, they had this ratchet thing. If you come to buy this and come. For how long have you been on this? Unless if he's told me a lie, but I don't think he told me a lie. I saw peace. Okay. I've been on this for close to about 15, 20 years. Spoke impeccable Yoruba, and the wife spoke impeccable. Then I started saying something. Okay. With 50,000 naira, 20,000 naira in the hands of this man, not my hands, not yours.
But isn't it?
It is going troubling to be an uplifter now. Developmentally,
sorry. Isn't it troubling that for 15 years he has done that business and he's in that small space? Because according to your analysis, yeah, if you sat down, he would not get a place to sit.
Yes.
So it gives me the impression that the place is really small.
Very, very
and
small.
And they're still doing small scale business.
Very
Isn't it troubling?
It's not troubling.
That he hasn't expanded.
I saw peace in. Look, again, let's be careful. I saw peace.
Or acceptance of
No, I saw
the reality.
peace. I can elect to take you. We can go there on my bill. I saw peace.
Well, we'll go to your bill and then you buy me some
yes,
rice.
I saw peace that I hardly see in business schools, with people honking, running after this and stuff.
Okay, so Mr. Ake, what you are saying is that, the 5,000 naira conditional transfer,
yes,
made to homes is enough, to keep them going.
I haven't said it's enough. For some set of people,
okay,
they are in the villages, they need it.
For the
I believe they need it. When they see that they need it, those of us.
But the argument has always been, will this be continuous? Can you give people handout like this and take them out of poverty?
Good question again. Nothing is rooted in fixity. We are where we are because we have done so many things that we ought not to have done. We should do something now, learn from there, and begin to put infrastructures. I am saying, if I had the chance to elect people that I should give a national award, those two couples there will be the people I will be recommending.
For accepting their fate.
Not for accepting their fate, for leading simply, but not for being forgotten.
And then our politicians are, amassing wealth. Amazing. Well, let's take this to Port Harcourt. Yes. Are we going to Port Harcourt? Yes, we're going to Port Harcourt. Right there in Port Harcourt, we have Elder Lekia Christian. Well, good to have you join us. We have someone in Benin as well, so I was contemplating if we're going to Benin. But here we are in Port Harcourt. Good morning to you, Elder Lekia Christian, who is a social justice crusader and president of Niger Delta Coalition Against Violence. Welcome to the conversation. Now, I'm going to ask, let's read out a bit of data here now. The World Bank usually come up with an update, Nigeria Development Update. Excuse me. And in the recent update, World Bank revealed that only 5.6 million households, representing 37% of the target 15 million, had received any cash transfer 2 years after the launch. And we also know that the World Bank, approved $800 million loan to support the scheme. And out of that $800 million, $530 million had been disbursed as of April 30th, 2025, which basically accounts for only 5.6 million households, which is around 37% have received this amount. And the reason for the non-continual disbursement is lack of biometric data. You also remember the issue of Beta Edu. What exactly do you think is going on here?
Well, sometimes ago, when a former British Prime Minister described Nigeria as being fantastically corrupt, a lot of people never knew where he was going to. It wasn't a comedy show, but if you look down, when it comes to leadership, there should be a strong passion for the good of the public. Any program that is not intended on a very genuine note to impact meaningfully on the lives of the common Nigerian will only but show how vulnerable we've been in the face of all of these induced poverty that we suffer in this country. How can you think about implementing such a program when there is even the Nigerian Office of Statistics, they don't have the clear data of who is a Nigerian, who isn't. Which of these families have they captured? And they also do not know that organizations like the World Bank, they have their own feedback mechanism. They've done their own stakeholder mapping. They've captured the bracket of persons they intend to impact. And when they take this money, they hand this money to you, you don't know how to disburse the money. Remember the case of, like you reminded me of the case of Dr. Edu. What happened? How did all of that end? And we are still talking about the sentence. We need to improve in the management of ourselves as a nation. Do we really have a database? Even when with the recently launched national identity number that we have, how many Nigerians truly have that NIN? How many Nigerians have been truly captured? Is there any site, anywhere you can go and get information in terms of assessing those who have truly benefited from this program? So we need leadership, and we need to be thorough, as well as a mechanism that will purge the same people given the opportunity to manage our commonwealth, purge them of these instincts of corruption.
Now, Elder, if you talk this, more like a corrupt practices from what you're just saying now, and we know from your portfolio that you happen to be the president of Nigeria Delta Coalition Against Violence. So my question now is, in one way or another, you must have heard about this program. Now, can you tell us if you've actually seen anyone benefited from this? Because this is not the first time the government is, pushing out such handouts or palliative to poorest of the poor in Nigeria. First, we have the 25,000, we have the 75,000, and this particular one. Have you in any way heard of anyone benefited from this or such program before now?
To be very candid, I would describe it as a scam. They may have a couple of shows to advertise that the program is ongoing, but there is no verifiable proof to show that those who are even being advertised as beneficiaries of the scheme are truly the vulnerable people that the program was intended or is being intended to impact upon.
When you say it's a scam,
I cannot clearly say I have seen,
all right,
because
when you say it's a scam, we learned that the Central Bank of Nigeria also have a part to play, a role to play in this cash disbursement. We also have, other agencies also aligning with the federal government to make sure that the people this cash is meant for benefited from it. So are you now saying that with the CBN getting involved and then other agencies also getting involved, that there'll still be loopholes for people to benefit from this, even when they are not the rightful persons that should benefit from the program?
If the CBN was immune from corruption, Emefiele won't be facing any charges, we won't have any problem. That institution is not immune from corruption. And so we must deal with corruption squarely. And that's why I am urging that we look at institutions like the ICPC as well as the EFCC and groom them to understand that the intelligence required to monitor and fight corrupt practices within our institutions is something the government must invest squarely in. Because without being equipped to handle certain levels of responsibilities, you'll be concerned alone with the aspect that has to do with your remuneration without effectively discharging your responsibilities to the society. Security or tracking these systems is intelligence driven, and you must be passionate about the good of your country. You must be concerned about the welfare of the citizens of this country for you to truly grow that passion to do your job.
All right, thank you so much, Elder. Let's get in Mr. Blessed Jatto join the conversation. Mr. Blessed Jatto is a public affairs analyst and the political commentator. Good morning, Mr. Blessed Jato.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right, good to have you during today's conversation. Now, interestingly, we're looking at how 2 million Nigerian households have been cleared, and they are also have been validated also to benefit from a particular program initiative created by this present administration to help, mitigate the cost of living for Nigerians. And then some persons are asking, how possible is it for the government to be able to get this household that is validated already to benefit from this? We don't have a clear data of the people who are poor. And we know, for example, the persons who are poor don't even have bank accounts. How then would this money be disbursed to them? How are they going to get it? Can you help us work around that? As you also help us explain if there is any, if you can perceive any policy put in place for this particular money to be reviewed, given the fact that cost of living in Nigeria keeps on increasing.
All right, thank you very much. Like the last guest just mentioned, you see, there are too many things that are shrouded around this whole policy thing. And let's even start from the program itself. By the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics data, we have approximately 49.5 million households in Nigeria. Now, the federal government have bragged about being able to capture 2.3 million as at May 2025. That amount to just 4.6% of the 49.5 million households. Now, like you have mentioned, the program did not just start now. But however, are there concrete plans on ground to ensure that the program is fair, the program is open and transparent? The answer is no. Like you mentioned central bank a while ago. You see, the whole central bank issue do not add any credibility to this whole scam that is called a conditional cash transfer. For example, I have often asked, where are the people? I am a core stakeholder in the civil society space in this country, particularly Edo State. I can tell you for free that I am yet to meet one person. In fact, let me even say this. If you are to open your call line now for people to call in those who have benefited from this program genuinely, I can tell you that we will sit here for another 1 hour. We may not be able to find 3 people to call in. Even if we do find, we will now begin to ask ourselves, how vulnerable really are these persons that are calling? Again, let's look at the program. They have said that starting from May, they are giving 75,000 to be disbursed in a 3 months period. So what happened after 3 months? That is question number 1. So if you are going to alleviate poverty and your program is to run your 75,000 run for 3 months, what happened after the 3 months is ended? And then you are disbursing 25,000 to households in Nigeria. And by statistics, the average household have about 5.06 persons. So where you have 5 persons in a household and you are disbursing 25,000 naira in a month, the question is, what can 25,000 really do for a household of 5 persons in just 1 week? Not to talk about 1 month running. So, however, this will help us to see that this whole thing is just politicians trying to score political points, trying to make it look as if they are doing something, trying to make it look as if they care about the people. That is how this whole facade.
Sorry to interrupt your train of thoughts now. Our guest in the studio here is of the opinion that some people will appreciate that amount. It will go a long way in their lives. And let's not forget that these monies are for those that have been termed the poorest of the poor. those that maybe cannot even afford, one decent meal. And here they will have 25,000 naira. So it might, don't you think that it might go a long way, especially in investing in whatever business, small business that they do?
I'm sorry, Moses. Let me just add. The guest, sorry, Mr. Jato, the guest in the studio wasn't just talking about 25,000 naira. He said 5,000 naira is a lot of money in the rural area.
You see, that narrative, let us not forget that Nigeria, like the rest of the world, is becoming a global village. Meaning that this rural-urban narrative no longer holds in the real sense of it. There is nothing unique. There's nothing different in terms of the cost of living between those in the urban areas and those in the rural area. I travel. I do program in rural community. The cost of living is technically and practically almost the same. Don't forget, in most of these rural areas, people cannot even access their farms. So they still rely on the conventional markets that the urban people rely on. And then when we talked about, you just brought my attention to something very important I was going to talk about. If this program was genuinely meant to alleviate poverty, what would have happened is let poor families who are genuinely poor, register, enlist themselves in the scheme, submit what they want to do. A woman who said, I want to sell pepper at the front of my house, or I want to be selling tomatoes and rice at my junction, I need 100,000, 150,000. That would have made a little sense and a little meaning to their life. If you say 25,000 can help people do small business, I don't know what kind of business. If I want to be selling months, for example, how much is a crate of months right now? Some of them sell as far as 11,000 naira for just a crate. So how many crate of months can that even give me? Or are we saying that all poor people should go and sell pure water? Even if I want to sell pure water, how much is ice block? So what can 20?
All right, Mr. Jato, we would like you to hold on to your line of thought. Have someone calling in, to join the program. Good morning, and your name and where you're calling us from, please.
Good morning. Ogugu Sevano Sikejuku calling from Port Harcourt in Nigeria.
You're welcome to the program, Mr. Ikechuku. Go ahead, you have 1 minute.
Okay, beautiful. I would just want to make a contribution in line with the Nigerian situation, political, and what should be done in order to walk away from the maladies of mal-elections in Nigeria.
Go ahead, you have 1 minute, please. Go ahead.
Number one, among the amendments that must be made on electoral law is make it compulsory to transmit election results at the polling booth. All elections, whether they're national, whether they're federal, whether they're state, whether they're local government. Real time, compulsory. 2, make sure that anybody that is caught struggling to buy vote or buy voters, vote buying, both undue influences.
All right, then. Thank you very much. Yes, your point is taken. Yes, amend electoral law and discourage vote buying. Thank you very much. Let's go back to Jato. Please continue with your train of thought, and let's wrap this conversation up and move to the next one. Let's have you conclude, please. Well, you may need to unmute your microphone. You may need to unmute because we can't hear you at the moment. So please do us the favor. Unmute your mic so we can hear you. Go ahead now.
You can. Okay. Now, if this program was really meant to alleviate poverty, we will be seeing the signs and symptoms on the ground, on the grassroots. Right now, what we are seeing is beautiful comment on paper,
All right.
beautiful description on the media, and nothing on ground. So we must begin to ask the federal government, how are you selecting your vulnerable people, your poor household? And these are critical things they need to answer for the whole system to have credibility and fairness. And we should stop insulting Nigerians with this welfarist kind of mentality. It is not working. We cannot continue to run a country on welfare. There should be concrete programs where people who have things to do should be able to do things for themselves.
Jator, thank you very much. We're absolutely out of time for this conversation, but we'll give you time to drop your concluding thoughts much later. Now, let's talk about insecurity. Boko Haram slaughters 17 farmers, fishermen in Borno. Over what, you may ask? Over ISWAP support. Let's talk about this when we come back very briefly.
At least 17 farmers and fishermen were killed by Boko Haram militants in Malam Karanti village near Baga, Borno State, for allegedly supporting rival faction ISWAP. Several others were abducted and the death toll may increase. The victims were attacked while fishing and farming along Lake Chad on Thursday afternoon, according to local militia sources. Boko Haram suspects, many locals sympathize with ISWAP, which has been more tolerant towards civilians. The massacre follows a pattern of rising violence in the region. Just hours later, ISWAP attacked a military base in Wulgo, killing 5 troops. Both jihadist groups have increasingly targeted civilians, accusing them of aiding the military. The insurgency, which began in 2009, has claimed over 40,000 lives and displaced more than 2 million people in northeast Nigeria. We still have with us in the studio Mr. Akin Fatinke, communication consultant and an arbitrator, and also Mr. Blessed Jatori, public affairs analyst and political commentator, and Elder Lekia Christian, also, who is a public affairs analyst and social justice crusader. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being part of today's show. Now, let me start off with you, Mr. Fatinke. Just less than how many hours? I think like 4 or 5 hours that we learned that 17 farmers and fishermen were killed. There was another attack on a military base, all happening in Borno State. And we could recall that last week, the governor of Borno State, in the person of Babagana Zolom, gave a directive cutting off fuel supply, petroleum product supply in some areas in that state, saying that that's a way for him to make sure that insurgent group members don't have access to premium motor spirits, which aid them in moving around. Now, what do you have to say about this, over the fact that the governor also have been crying about the incessant attack of insurgents in Borno State?
I really wonder what you want me to say, that as you and I have been speaking, usually you know that's me mind. Why do you think another one is not going to, it's not happening now? Why do you think we're not going to have another one tomorrow? We had a couple a month ago and all that. I've just told the whole world, my thought is simple. We have issues of settling leadership question in Nigeria. If we do not find a way to settle the issue of leadership question, where you come from and all that, we ain't going nowhere. We'll just be scratching against things. And I also, again, come back to media. So, usually media. So, what exactly are you looking for? Tinubu is not working fine, Zulum is not working fine, and all that. We have a complex situation on our hands that should be short of politics, but I cannot be short of politics.
Sorry, Mr. Fatuke, I'm sorry to butt in. No, I'm sorry to butt in. You need to explain something so that we understand. When you say leadership question, what exactly?
It means if a leader is coming from a particular region of this country, the rest will be up in arms, and vice versa. Simple. I mean, everybody knows that. We know that the state of alignment or not alignment and all that kind of stuff, there's a correlation between what is happening and then there. Look, ASWAP and Boko Haram and the military. You want to tell me that we do not have saboteurs putting our military into jeopardy there? We do not have locals that speak a particular language and says, look, and all that. Let us get to the root of the problem.
Okay, so you think it has something to do with the person that is the president?
The root of the problem is lead. You understand what leadership is?
I understand. So do you think that the rise in insecurity has something to do because
leadership is federal, state, local government, local administration, local government, the traditional rulers.
Okay.
And all that is leadership,
all right, then.
Including the household. Look,
all right,
I support this, I don't support that.
Let's take this round. Let's take this round so we can get everyone's view. I think, yes, so let's come to Benin now, where Blessed Jatoy is. A quick question. People seem to be suffering on either side. If they support one terrorist group, the other one attack them. Unfortunately so. Isn't this a failure on the part of government? Now, also bear in mind that in Borno State, the governor, Babagana Zulum, has called for fasting today. He has declared statewide fast today. Will that fast solve the problem? Very quickly, please. Go ahead.
Thank you. Nigeria is a comedy theater. The more you look, the more you have reasons to laugh. Is this a government failure? It is not only a government failure, it is an abysmal, a ridiculous, and a highly condemnable act of, in fact, let me put it in one word. This is best described as government turpitude and ineptitude. For example, as long as terrorism continue to be lucrative economically, it continue to have political benefits when it comes to political calculation, and it is colored in ethnicity and religiosity, there will be nothing changing anytime soon. And that is because, like someone had mentioned just now, this is a very complicated web of issue. And at the center of it is a government that is enjoying the drama for their own political advantage. And as long as that continues, for example, the governor, two things you just mentioned. The governor is cutting fuel supply. You will ask yourself, how does these terrorists, how do they get food? They have people that supply them food. If you cut the conventional fuel supply to a particular area, they are informants, they are siders. We use jerry cans and vehicles to supply them the fuel. It is the same thing. And then the state is declaring fasting. And I'm just wondering how God is feeling right now, looking at this ridiculous drama that is happening. Okay. You are declaring fasting when the things you should have done as a state is not being done.
Okay.
The things you should do at federal level is not being done.
No.
And you want God to do what?
Some persons also will tell you that this present administration is doing what it can to make sure that the issue of insecurity is being cut or is even being nipped in the bud. Elder Lekia Christian, just last week here, we learned about a directive from the president that 130,000 persons should be mobilized maybe 2,000 or 5,000 from each state, according to the capacity, financial capacity of the governor, to make them work in line with the security personnel in Nigeria to man our forests. We have over 1,200 and I think 91 thereabouts of forests in Nigeria, and these people are to work as forest guards to make sure that unscrupulous elements, individuals who are using that forest as a hideout, are being pushed out. Do you think that this in any way is going to help to curb the issue of insecurity in Nigeria? We'd like you to unmute your device. We'd like you to unmute your device, Elder Lekia Christian, if you can hear us. All right, while you work on that, let me get your opinion on that, Mr. Blessed Jatod, and we'll bring it back to the studio for Mr. Akinfatoke's own opinion. Do you think that the employment of 130,000 persons to join the forest guard in helping the police and military now at this point in time to man our forests is going to help out in any way to stop the issue of insecurity in Nigeria?
All right, let's
Fairness and sincerity. If the whole idea is to be pursued honestly, then it will help. You will ask yourself, why have the Nigerian military, who are aware the locations of these terrorists, after more than 10 years, why have they not
Mr.
been able...
Mr. Jator, please indulge me. Do me a favor. Just hold on to your thoughts. Let's quickly take Elder Lekia's thoughts on this one so we have a balanced view. So, Elder Lekia, I do understand that you've rectified the audio issue. So let's have your thoughts now. You might need to unmute your microphone. Well, unfortunately, we seem to be having that issue. Anyway, let's have you conclude now. Let's have you, Blessed Ajato, let's have you conclude in about a minute, please.
All right, thank you. I was just saying, there is a reason why the current military strategy, both the kinetics and the other strategy, why they have not worked in more than 10 years, is because there have been lack of political will and internal sabotage, which the government is not doing anything to flush out. So even if you recruit the whole Nigeria to watch our forests, to fight terrorism, if there is no political will, if the right strategy is not put in place, if the right resources are not given to this person, it will still not yield.
All right, then, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, we are absolutely out of time. Mr. Fatunke, let's have your concluding thoughts.
My concluding thought is exactly what I started with. Continue to think and speak a lot of English and grammar and all that. I just wanted to take a bit of an exception. You know that is me, clearly, with what the last, Brighton, was saying. The military knows. Please, let's be very, very careful here. These guys are not only doing their best, they are being sabotaged. Yes, like you said, leadership with the locals. And that is the honest truth. Suddenly, Baba Gana Zulum, who has been a performer in the last 3 years, suddenly is no more performing. And you don't think comprehensively you should be looking at elsewhere? I keep on saying something. It is the political leadership which has infiltrated our tribes and tongue, fortunately. And then earlier, we are talking about conditional transfer and all that. I will not throw away the baby with the bathwater. I have told you example of people I saw.
Yes.
Don't throw it away. You should not throw it away.
All right, then. Thank you very much.
Let's interrogate it in a better way. But
Thank
it's
you
not
very
for,
much.
it's not for people like you and I.
I need money too.
Well,
I don't know about you, but I need money.
Well, the government has given you money.
Well, thank you very. No, they haven't.
They haven't.
No, they haven't.
If you are earning a particular threshold, you are not going to pay tax. Have you allowed that to happen?
Well, thank you
It's
very
the
much.
truth.
We've been speaking with Akin Fatuke, who is a communication consultant and an arbitrator. We've also had Mr. Blessed Jato, who is a public affairs analyst and a human rights activist as well. And we've also had Elder Lekia Christian, a public affairs analyst, social justice crusader, and President Niger Delta Coalition Against Violence. Well, that's it on the show today. Thank you very much, gentlemen. In about 10 more minutes away from now, we'll be diving into the papers, x-raying the headlines. On behalf of my colleagues, Chukuma Korofina Okechukwu, I am Moses Humphrey, wishing you a beautiful day. Join us again at 10. Bye for now.